Hey everyone, Wyatt here with OVM. Today we're working on a 2014 Yamaha Viking, and we'll be doing a valve clearance adjustment. So let's come take a look at the machine. Alright, so just real quick before I show you the Viking, whenever you're doing valve clearance adjustments on any vehicle, make sure the motor is cold, the vehicle's cold. Instructing the customer, don't pull it out of the driveway, just leave it where it is, and that's going to give you the best reading because the vehicle has to be cooled down. It can't be warmed up, and the manual should also tell you that. Alright, let's get to work. Alright, here is the Viking. Now, under normal procedures, all you have to do is lift the cargo bed up and remove one panel out of the back here. So you would lift the bed up and then remove this panel that goes right here, and you would have access to the motor. Now what we're doing is we're getting into the top. These are the tappet covers, intake and exhaust, and then we're also getting into these two covers. This is going to be where you turn the motor over, and this is where you check for your proper timing. You need to be at TDCC, which is top dead center compression. Alright, so this one's pretty straightforward. We'll just need a 10mm Allen, an 8mm Allen, a 10mm socket, 8mm socket, some feeler gauges, and some wrenches. The clearance for intake is 0.9 to 0.13 millimeters, and exhaust is 0.16 to 0.20 once we get the tappet covers off and get down into the checking the clearance. So you pull the covers off here of the engine, and this is a 10mm Allen and an 8mm. They're plastic with O-rings behind them, so be careful. And once you're able to do that, you can get a ratchet at the 22mm socket, and you always want to turn the direction of the cam chain tensioner. So tensioner on this one is right up here. Move the camera up a little bit. Tensioner is right here, so we're turning the motor that way. Always in the direction of the tensioner. Okay? And to make your life easier, you could take the plug out if you wanted. So next you want to pull these covers off. You have the intake on this side and the exhaust on this side. A little bit of oil might drip down out of the exhaust. It's a either 8mm bolts here. Just a teensy tiny bit of oil. Okay, now we have access to the actual tappets to make the adjustments that we need if we need to make them. So we'll do the measurements first, and I'll show you how to set the piston at top dead center compression, TDCC. Alright team, this is going to be the hardest to see and probably one of the most important pieces to this. Okay, so you're going to turn over the motor. I removed the spark plug also just to make life easier. And you're going to watch the intake valve open, which is going to go down. They opening, and then they're going to shut. Nice and easy. Okay, so now they shut. There we go. Now we have to watch for the marks. Okay, you're going to see some numbers and mumbo jumbo come across. Doopy-doopy-doo, nice and easy. More numbers, you're going to see little marks. Okay, there they are. I don't know if I can see it on the camera here. Okay, so the first two lines. Okay, so the first two lines there are the ignition. Okay? It's the firing range, and then the next little line right there is top dead center. Now, we know we're on top dead center compression because we watched the intake valve open and shut. Okay, so now that we're at that point, we can come up to the top here. Again, I removed the spark plug to make turning over the motor easier, but now that we're at top dead center compression, these intake's going to be loose. Here, click, 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 and the exhaust is going to be loose. Click, 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 click. Okay, and now we do our measurements. Okay, so if for some reason you just could not get the timing mark to set right, you couldn't see it, just being annoying, let me show you another way also to make sure that it's at top dead center compression. I'm going to pull this top cover off up here, and there's a little line right here. It's going to line up with the mark on the inside. I'll show you when I get the cover off. Just 2 8mm bolts and it'll pop off. Like I said, when you pull that cover off, right, there's a line. It's right there and it lines up with that line, see? So if you're worried about not being able to see very well at the bottom, you pull this top cover off and make that line right there line up there. And that's also a good way, I mean, ultimately you want to do the crank though, because if for some reason someone had been monkeying around in there and got the cam off a tooth, right, that's the way to verify that. This right here is your auto decompressor right here, so it stays down, pushing the exhaust valve open just a little bit while it cranks over, and then when she starts, this falls back like this from centrifugal force, and then allowing the valve to operate normally. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and check the exhaust side of the house. So when they're checking exhaust, the number is 0.16 millimeters to 0.20. So I have 1.152, right? So you're just going to slide it underneath right here, and it goes nice and easy. You take the 20 and do not put a ton of pressure, just lightly see if you push it, that doesn't want to go. Okay, so we try the other. Same exact deal, goes in nice and easy, and then the 2 also stops. See, just stop, doesn't want to go. And these are loose. You can hear tip 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 tip. So these are within spec. Okay, so the exhaust is within spec. I didn't really foresee there being an issue. It doesn't have a lot of hours. There is one intake that's out, so I'll show you and we'll make adjustments. After doing the exhaust, we'll go to the intake. The spec is 0.09 to 0.13, so here's a 0.1, right? It will go in pretty easy, and then it will again on this other left side here, pretty easy, and we'll bump it up to 0.127, which is pretty close to that 1.3. I cannot get it to go, so we'll go on that one. And then this left side here, if you hear it, so it does go in. So this one, this left one is a little bit loose, so I'll go ahead and make a very minute adjustment to that one valve. There is a tool for this, but I don't currently have it. Whatever. Alright, so you loosen up the nut, right? The nut's loose. And you come in here with a pair of little pliers. You just give it a little centerpiece, a little turn in. Your goal is again for the 1-0 to go in 10 and the 1-2. No, there we go. Okay, so it's set. So now I have to hold the centerpiece in place. Right where it is. Just grab it, tighten this nut back down. Out turning the centerpiece. Now again, there's a tool for this. I don't currently have it. Now again, your 0.10 goes, and the 1-2 should not. Does not. Right, and you still hear a little tap right when we're all said and done. So again, the if you can hear it and you can feel it, it's a little bit of drag. And then again, the 127 will not go. Once you get done, you want to start it up, check it for leaks, because you did take off places that there's oil that could leak from, so come take a look. No oil leaking up here, no oil leaking down here, and no oil leaking from here. Good to go.
Perfect.